Hello, BookTube. I'm in a different location here because Mark and I were talking, and I was mentioning library tours, doing a library tour here at the Old Farmhouse, and he mentioned that his shelves never do well when I do a library tour, that suddenly I find lots to criticize. And I thought, oh, that isn't right. I'm a guest here. Frida and I are guests here. I should try and rectify that. So I waited. I knew that this afternoon Mark was going to have his twerking exercises at the community center, so I waited until he was gone, and I picked a shelf at random. We're going to see if this is true. Is it true that I am not on friendly terms with this library or not? So I picked one at random, and I used my fancy $5 tripod so that you'd be able to see me. So let's see. Okay, the first one is, this is a new book. This is by Rolls. I think we saw this on my channel at one point too. This is by Rolls Struckix, who is the Needham Professor of Chinese History, Science, and Civilization at the University of Cambridge. And this is Ways of Heaven, an Introduction to Chinese Thought. There you go. I think this is a 2019 release. No, nothing against it at all. We're doing just fine. This next one, well, this will be familiar to a lot of you. This is arguably by Christopher Hitchens, his big essay collection. Not really essay, book reviews. This is a huge collection of his For Deadline book reviews, and it's fantastic. I might have my issues with Hitchens, but this is what he was born to write, and it's fantastic. So I wholeheartedly recommend it. Let's make sure these things go back in the order in which, and in the condition in which they were taken out, because the twerking lessons aren't going to last forever. Ask not for whom the librarian tolls. What is the next one here? Yeah. Okay, well, what's the common, totally passive aggressive way of putting it? If this will appeal to you if you're the sort of person that this appeals to. So, this is Peter Gay, and this is his book on Sigmund Freud, I believe, Godless Jew. Yeah, Freud, Atheism, and the Making of Psychoanalysis. And I don't have much in the way of affection for Peter Gay, for his writing, for his researching, and anything. And some of you may remember that I don't have a lot of affection for Freud either. Oh, God. Oh, God, I just looked at the shelf. Okay, all right. Maybe Mark was right. The next one is edited by Peter Gay. This is the Freud Reader. I will acknowledge this is a very good reader. Freud wrote a whole bookcase full of stuff, and all of it is horse manure. So you want a really good edited edition to give you the highlights, the less manure bits. And Peter Gay is just the right person to do this. He's just the right person to be an editor, to annotate things, to do that sort of thing. The one thing that curating a volume like that might lead him to think that he could do, that he absolutely is not equipped for, is to write a big biography of Sigmund Freud, and here we go. So this thing sold like the dickens. Oh my God. It's probably still in print. It probably still sells. I think this is probably the definitive popular biography of Freud. If Juan at Just Juan Reader is watching and knows a better one, maybe there are better ones, but working in a bookstore, I never sold any Freud book anywhere close to this. So, and I have read other, every once in a while Peter Gay will write a big book on a popular subject, and they are entertaining. They are readable. So there you go. We're never going to get out of this. Don't tell me this is all psychoanalysis. This is by Jung. This is a collection, Memories, Dreams, and Reflections. And the single and only reason why Jung is not the biggest intellectual fraud of the last 200 years is because Freud exists. So we're on dicey territory here. I honestly don't know that I've never read this volume, and I honestly don't know that I ever would. Oh God. Oh God. All right. Okay. All right. This is actually a pretty edition. Leave it to Mark to find something like this. Look at this thing. Okay, now this I would look through. This is Jung as well. This is Man and His Symbols. There's some sort of archetypal collective consciousness because every human being in the world has noticed that circles exist. or that rain falls downward instead of upward. You're a genius. but look at this volume. This is incredible. It's full of illustrations, color and black and white. That's actually something I would actually. All right, great. Oh God. All right, we're just gonna go on here. This next one is a great big. Again, it's like the Peter Gay Freud biography. It's a great big book. It's meant for a general audience, and unfortunately, if the only reason that Jung is not the biggest horse's patoot of a quasi-pseudo-intellectual in the last 200 years is because Freud exists. And the only reason this guy doesn't have the #1 spot is because Jung and Freud exist. This is Roger Scruton, who a lot of you, I'm sure, like. Every time I've heard his name come up on BookTube, it's been in favorable context. And this is his book on... it won't have Jung and Freud. This is all the later ones. Probably Karl Popper is in here. And well, turn to Roger Scruton's table of contents and you get pure Roger Scruton. Chapter 16 is the soul. Chapter 17 is freedom. Chapter 18 is the human world. How useful. Thinks animals, non-human animals, are wind-up machines. Okay, all right. Oh, phew. All right, so we're still dealing with philosophy. This is still philosophy, but this author I love. And this is American Philosophy, a love story by John Cagg, who, when he wrote this, that's what he looked like. And he doesn't look that much older even today. This was really good. When did this come out? This was 2015? 16? It's exactly what you would think from the title. It doesn't involve what the George W. Bush administration referred to as old Europe. Instead, it's all American stuff, including. So when was this? 2016. Okay, and one of the stars of this book is William James, the interesting James brother, the James brother with literary talent. and this same author is doing a new book on William James in 2020. I really like him. I will read him. Even on subjects that I think are time-wasting bunkum. What is this? Oh my. Oh, goodness. Okay, look at this. The Nobel. A century of winners try to ignore the fact that Mother Teresa is front and center on the cover. But look at this. You go through the winners. You get everything about them, a picture and all the details, not only of their life and the work that won them the prize, but also all the details as well. Look at that. Oh, fantastic. A one-stop shop for all of the Nobel Prize winners. Terrific. All right. Okay, this is actually very similar to Roger Scruton's book, Only Good. This is Paul Johnson's The Intellectuals, where he writes about... I don't think he's Roger Scruton. I think his chapters will be useful. Yeah, Ernest Hemingway, Tolstoy, Ibsen, Marx. I read this book, and some of the chapters I think are better than others because Johnson, like anybody else, his interests range all over. And some of these people he knew, and some of these people, even when he doesn't know them, he knows their works and their life better than others. I remember correctly, there's a chapter in here on Edmund Wilson that is amazingly good. Is this that book? I don't have any Paul Johnson at Hyde Cottage. I think that will be in here. Yes. The Brand from the Burning. Although there's a great chapter in here on Lillian Hellman that would have infuriated her, but it's really good. Oh wow. So I tell you, this is the sort of book that the Old Farmhouse here is the last place these books go. They go here to be enjoyed and appreciated in just the way that they should be. There's a ton of them all over this place, and it's extra poignant for me because one of the authors of one of this kind of book, a big, sprawling, comprehensive, popular look at a deep subject, one of the great authors of that kind of book, Jonathan Miller, just died. And this is Bill Moyers, who's one of the greatest of all. And when it comes to what a friend of mine in the 1970s referred to as educators, that's how he referred to these people, as educators. No condescension, total intelligence. Here's an interesting subject. I'm going to present it to you in approachable language, but I'm not going to lose any of the complexity. And look at this. This is a world of ideas. How incredible. And it just, I wonder if is this. Oh man, look at this thing. It just goes on and on where he goes through. Oh man, oh man. This is all just him interviewing people. If you're Bill Moyers, that's what you do. You go and find the people who are doing this sort of stuff and talk to them. Incredible. Oh man. Oh boy. All right. Okay. This is Michael Murray's Jacques Barzoon reader. Jacques Barzoon is him and Lionel Trilling. They are the snootiest members of my profession. They're actually book reviewers. They would hate you to call them that. But if the then editor of the New York Review of Books said, I'm going to send you a package with 3 books in it, I'd like a review of one of them, and I'll give you $1,500 for it, he would say yes. He might say yes in a stilted French accent from the very top of Mount Parnassus, but he would still say yes, same as I would. I put his pants on one leg at a time. That's the phrase. I'm having gruesome acquaintance with it this week because I have to wear pants here at the Old Farmhouse. Ordinarily, when that phrase comes up, I say, says you. But this is terrific. This is a terrific volume. Oh, man. It's the same thing as the Freud Reader. It's just a beautifully curated edition of this author's work. You could, I hate to say it, of course, it grates to say, but Jacques Barzoon is worth reading in every word. But if you live in far away from any used bookstores, you don't trust online or whatnot, and you don't have access to Jacques Barzoon, and you see this volume, even if you don't have anything else, this will stand you in good stead for a long time. This is a terrific volume. Boy, oh boy. Okay. All right. Well, then the pendulum is swinging, isn't it, here? So let's see. Oh, man. Okay. Probably Mark knew this guy. I'm gonna slaughter his name. I won't try his first name. Last name's Pelican. This is The Idea of the University. It's a classic book. If you look at history of university, history of academic studies done in the last 30 years, he's in the bibliography. If you just go to the P's of the bibliography, he's going to be here there. You can't write a book on this subject without this. And I don't know, see, he's got the flinty look and the background full of books. It wouldn't surprise me at all if Mark knows him or studied with him or one of his students. Wow. Okay. I don't think I ever actually read this book. I knew how fundamental it was, but I don't think I ever actually read it. When did this come out? 1992. It's steep stuff, but and then we got all the way to the end. This wasn't an unmitigated disaster at all. He was completely wrong. Oh, fantastic. Oh, wow, look at this. All right, this is Julia Kristeva's book on Hannah Arendt, who I love. Wow. Okay, so this was from, I would have read this, but 2001. Yeah, so I would have read this when I got it at my bookstore. Like retail bookstores, you can take the dust jacket off a new thing and borrow it, and you're only on the hook for it if you damage it. Otherwise, you can just bring it back to the stock. So I did that a lot. I did that a lot because these books are too expensive if you work in a bookstore. So I would have read this, but back then I would not have had any venue to write about it. Or I probably would have, because this is, a major intellect writing about another major intellect. Boy, oh boy, fantastic. All right, well, so what we have here is a kind of intellectual history shelf, kind of, sort of, some sort of organization here. It'd be some sort of. It looked like it was going to be psychology, but it looks like it's more intellectual history, idea history, writing about history and the history of ideas. That wasn't bad. so don't tell Mark what I said at the beginning, and we'll just be fine. Thank you, Mark, too.